All right, welcome back. Gregor here once again, this time to discuss uh, Eartheater by Dolores Reyes. But before I get into the book, remember to like, subscribe, comment, all the good stuff. You guys are on YouTube, so you know the deal. This book was a book club pick. I believe Amanda picked this one, and this is the first novel by Reyes, and it is about a young lady who can see people's uh, the way they're murdered or disappeared by eating the earth they touched. It gave me similar vibes to the comic book series Chew, where he can tell where a food comes from by eating it. And a lot of magical realism in this. And I'm not going to claim to be an expert on Latin American literature, but in what I have read, that is a huge theme is magical realism. And that is here. Um, but the biggest thing about this book was that Reyes wanted to demonstrate the femicide that is rampant. I mean, throughout the world, but in particular Latin America. So she wanted the dialogue to be true to the neighborhood the story was taking place in. And the interesting thing about this edition I have of the book is it has an afterword by the translator, Julia Sanchez. And Sanchez really talked about the importance of trying to keep that language in the translation. And so you'll see things like uh, the word yotes, which is a slang term for cops, is used quite often, but like there's not really English equivalent that does justice to the word. So that's just in there the entire time, which I did read a review that the reviewer was confused by that and thought it was like a mistranslation, but it was clearly meant in to be there, and you can tell what the meaning is of the word really easily in context. So I really enjoyed that. One of the things is the narrator is pretty unreliable, but at the same time kind of maintains a steady voice throughout the book. Like we meet her when she's like a single digit child. I think she's in like kindergarten or first grade. And we go through with her until she's, I think, 15 or 16. And the voice is very inconsistent, but at the same time, like unreliable, but at the same time, like there's consistent tone to that voice. So that is a little like you'd think the voice would change a little bit, but really, really minor critique. And but the characters are all great and realistic around it. And for a first time novel, just really, really great. And honestly, femicide is something that isn't discussed enough. And this touches upon how the police don't really care too much about it, which is another thing that Reyes really wanted to maintain in the book. And I thought it really did well and it did justice. Like the amount of people that start to go to this young lady, this Eartheater, to find out what happened to their missing relatives is like unsettling and really gives a glimpse of how like rampant this problem really is in this community and Latin America in general. And I thought that was just a really, really great. I wish I was fluent in Spanish because I would love to reread it in Spanish so I could really get a feel of what Reyes was going for in there. Having read the notes from the translator Sanchez, though, does really give a good idea. And for anyone who's read a lot of things that have been translated into English, like the translator plays a really, really important part. I know Kurt Vonnegut wrote about the relations he had with his translators. He became really good friends with the French translator for his works. He would go to France, they'd go to dinner and hang out. So translators really play a part in it. So I do have to wonder if any of the minor critiques I have are to do with the translation or if it's just like a first novel. I mean, sometimes you get an author whose the first novel knocks it out, and sometimes there's a little rust. Overall, I thought this was a really, really good read, really quick read too, which is sometimes really, really nice. Sometimes I prefer a bigger read, but in this case, I thought it was really, really perfect length. There's a lot of stuff that was set up and left you questioning throughout the book, so there's a lot to dive into this. If you're a fan of Latin American literature, or if you're curious about it, or you want to read, I don't know why you want to read about femicide, but if it's something, a topic you want to read novelizations of and to understand like how it's handled around the world, I highly recommend Eartheater. It's not going to be one of my favorite books, not one of my favorite books I'd read in the past year, but an enjoyable, quick read. So yeah, if you've read Eartheater and or you have thoughts on Latin American literature in general, leave a comment. And also, if you want to find me on the socials, I have my link tree in the comments. Until next time.